Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another Manchester United news show discussing all the takeover transfers and latest Manchester United news today. We're going to be talking about major takeover changes set to take place over the next few weeks as Sergeant Ratcliffe's deal for 25% of the club is set to be finalised. We're going to be talking about two major sackings set to be happening. One in Richard Arnold and his replacement Blanc. We're going to be talking exactly about who he is, what he's done, why he's so much better than Arnold, and why things look up with Blanc coming in as well as other people who might be coming into United. We're going to be talking about what's going to happen in this January transfer window. Is Sergeant Ratcliffe still going to impact that? And we're going to be talking about players we've been linked to like Ryan Cherky, Todibo and Nico Williams and more. So let's dive into the latest Manchester United news today. So regarding the takeover, it was said by Lucas today that Sergeant Ratcliffe has held virtual meetings with Joel Glazer about possible changes to Manchester United's structure, including the personnel, and that Richard Arnold and John Murtough's jobs are set to be those at risk. No surprise there. It looks like Paul Mitchell and Blanc are lined up to replace Arnold and Murtough, which, has been said by the Muppeteers among many sources. It was said last week by a Man United insider that the whole place at Man United at the moment is crazy. There is so much uncertainty everywhere, boardroom, coaching staff and players. None of them know if they'll even be here next season, Erik included. The sooner Jim comes in and even has 1% of control on the structure, it'll be a godsend for us. So inside sources saying United's such a mess, no one knows what's going on. We need Ratcliffe to come in, make those changes and implement a good structure, getting rid of Arnold and Murtough. So what is Ratcliffe's plan? Once Ineos take control of sporting decisions at Manchester United, Paul Mitchell is likely to be appointed as sporting director and Claude-Blanc is likely to be made CEO of United. It's said that Sergeant Ratcliffe's 25% investment in Man United is very, very close to being completed, said the United Muppeteers. So I know that a lot of us, me included, wanted a full sale. I very much wanted Qatar over Ratcliffe. I wanted a full sale. That's not going to be the case. Ratcliffe is going to get 25%, but we've got to talk about the positive side of this, of his 25%. It's not a full sale. I'm not happy we're not getting a full sale, but if he brings in Blanc and Paul Mitchell and makes changes to the structure, it's better than the Glazer ownership. It's not a full sale. It's not what we want, but it's an improvement. You look at FSG, you look at Kroenke, Liverpool and Arsenal don't particularly like their owners, but they put a good structure in place, good CEO, good sporting director, and Arsenal and Liverpool have had somewhat success. If Sergeant Ratcliffe can do that at United, that's probably the best thing that he can do without giving us the full sale or completely get rid of the Glazers. Continuing on, though, who is Blanc? So Blanc is set to be the new CEO of United. So I've done a little bit of research and I've got a little bit of background on Blanc, who he is, kind of what he does, and more. So, getting into this, it was said that Blanc joined Juventus in the middle of their financial crisis in 2009, where, let's be honest, Juventus were a complete mess. He was there for just over 2 years, and at Juventus, he came in and he improved the financial health of the club. He rebuilt the team, the staff, and supervised their new stadium project, which was a massive project for them because it gave them such a sustainable revenue stream that actually gave them an advantage over the rest of their competitors. Basically, when Blanc came in, his job was to basically cut down the Juventus wage bill because they were in a financial crisis and get rid of big stars who were demanding too much money. Something that needs to be done at United. Before Blanc came to Juventus, they had a reputation of overspending on many players who had bad attitudes and were now stuck on long contracts, and Juventus were in a heavy debt. Ring a bell. United overspending on players, long contracts, high wages, debt. Blanc dealt with that at Juventus very, very well. So what he did when he got to Juventus is he helped cut down on large amounts of debt. He established a consistent revenue stream that gave Juventus a financial advantage over the rest of the league because Juventus became the first Italian club to own their stadium, which meant that they could bring in a lot more money by owning their stadium, which gave them that advantage. And obviously, he did leave Juventus in 2011, but when he left, he laid this really good foundation for Juventus to get back on track. He got rid of the players that needed to go. He completely rebuilt the staff and structure of the club. He brought in the stadium. He helped with the marketing. He established a more consistent revenue stream. And basically, once he left Juventus, they won their first title in 9 years thanks to some of the stuff that he put in place. And then after that, they won like 10 in a row. They brought in Ronaldo. The rest is history, essentially. So he left Juventus to take on a new challenge at PSG. And this is when PSG obviously got the Qatari ownership and all of that stuff. The Qataris employed him at PSG. So, he is good. And he went to PSG, and he wasn't CEO of PSG or anything like that. He was a general manager and a marketing executive at PSG, but he was very successful because PSG are essentially one of the biggest brands in football. PSG sell the most shirts. PSG were like Man City, not that big of a club before they got taken over, but PSG is almost a lot bigger club than Man City. You see a lot more PSG shirts, and he helped establish a brand there. He led PSG to their first championship in nearly 2 decades, and he basically established what would probably be argued as the biggest sporting brand ever in terms of fashion brand. PSG, Jordans, he got that deal, and you have to look at the marketing stuff that he's done. He did good changes financially and on the pitch at Juventus, and then he went to PSG and did brilliant marketing stuff to basically establish PSG is this massive brand, which, people say, oh, PSG got taken over, they got loads of money, they brought in Neymar, but it's like Man City got taken over, they brought loads of money, but PSG still sell a million times more shirts than Man City. PSG is still more recognisable than Man City because he was very good at marketing the club and also establishing it as a brand, which is something that I think if Jim brings to United, the Glazers might like, because it's someone that can lower the debt, it's someone that can cut down the wage bill, it's someone that can win you trophies on the pitch, improve you on the pitch, change the structure of the club and implement the foundations needed in place to succeed. But there's also someone that's got a very good financial brain that can cut debt, that can increase expenses, that can build revenue streams like he did at Juventus, like he did at PSG. So what now for Blanc? So he joined Ineos Sport in 2022, where he's working with Ratcliffe, obviously assisting Ratcliffe in buying United right now. If he came to United, his job would be to obviously improve our revenue streams, renovate Old Trafford, cut down on debt, lower the wage bill, and rebuild the team and technical staff. He'd likely bring in someone like Paul Mitchell to do that alongside him, where Paul Mitchell would be looking at the sporting decisions at United, the recruitment, the players, overseeing that, whereas Blanc would be more overseeing the financial side of that job. He'd be bringing in the staff to help, he'd be bringing in Mitchell, the appropriate people to help with the rebuild, but he'd be thinking about how we're, going to cut down on this wage bill, get these big stars out, lower on the debt. And I think that Blanc would be a significant improvement on Arnold. I think Blanc and Mitchell would both be significant improvements on Arnold and Murtough. The reason I spoke about Blanc is because I think we already know a lot about Paul Mitchell, whose work at Monaco, the RB club, Spurs, Southampton. I think a lot of people don't know about Blanc. And I think generally we're not getting a full sale. And you know me, I've been very vocal about not being Ratcliffe's biggest fan and wanting a full sale and this and that. But you've got to accept that it is going to be Ratcliffe. It is going to be 25%, whether we like it or not. But I think that Ratcliffe coming in and bringing in Blanc and bringing in Mitchell could be really positive for United in terms of the structure. It's exactly what we need. The big question mark is if we bring in Blanc and we bring in Mitchell, because Joel Glazer is still here, because Joel Glazer still has power, will Blanc and Mitchell be able to actually have power and control to financially to do the changes that need to be done? There's no doubt in my mind that Blanc and Mitchell will be good, but Ratcliffe has taken such a risk with only buying 25% and allowing the Glazers to stay, that it's the big question mark is, will Joel Glazer give up power to let these people run this club properly and bring back success on the field, or is he just ready to neglect United even more? That is the big question. But we do have transfer news ahead of the January window, ahead of the summer as well. And look, I don't know what's going to happen in the January transfer window. I don't know if it's going to be a good window. I don't know if it's going to be a bad window. There's a lot of speculation. Some reports are saying United have got money to spend because of their poor start to the season and Ratcliffe coming in, and other reports are coming out saying we don't have money to spend because the Ratcliffe situation is so new. I don't know. But it was said by Ben Jacobs that United are willing to listen to offers for Martial in January. We're also willing to listen to offers for Sancho and Donny van der Beek. And if money is raised through sales, then yes, we could definitely buy someone. I think if money's not raised through sales, it depends on the whole Ratcliffe situation. And it depends on, what the decisions are at the top of the club, because I think if we're looking like we're not going to get top four, we are more likely to spend in January. Now, someone that United have been looking at is Rayan Cherki of Lyon, who's, look, I'm not going to lie, Lyon have an incredibly poor start to the season, but Cherki is definitely someone that I rate. I think he's a good young winger, good young attacker, could come to United, be a good signing. I think, he's not been greatest this season, but it could be part of Lyon's poor form. And I've always been a big fan of Cherki, but I'll be honest, if Man United and Newcastle are going toe-to-toe to sign a player, Newcastle are going to put in that bid quicker. Newcastle are going to be better at buying the player. And right now, if you're a player, you'd probably rather go to Newcastle than United, with them just looking more sustainable on track with Saudi ownership. Another player that United are looking at that I'm not a big fan of is Giorgio Scavani. United are interested in the Atalanta centre-back and have an excellent relationship with him. He plays as a centre-back in a back three and is almost the weak spot in the Atalanta back three because he's not good in build-up. I think he'd be more of a 6 as well. I think if you sign him, he's someone that I see as more of a 6 than a centre-back as well. So for me, if you're looking for a partner for Martinez, no. If you're looking for a partner for Martinez, Antonio Silva, Inacio, well, actually maybe not Inacio because he's left-footed, Antonio Silva, Demonde, Tapsoba, and of course, Todibo, who could be one of the most realistic ones considering Ratcliffe's links to Nice. The big question mark is Nice are top of the league right now. Nice are having a fantastic start to the season, and Todibo has been unbelievable. He's a big part of that. But would Nice sell Todibo in January is the big question. But everyday MUFC basically summarised why Todibo would be so good for United, because we need territory gainers at centre-back, and Todibo is that guy. He's physically dominant, he's quick, he's got, can do long strides, he's comfortable in wide areas. He allows us to play a high line, and we can push the centre-back up because he can cover wide spaces. He's the guy, because he's fast, because he's flexible, can let the team really push up, and he can cover such a wide space. He's very good one-on-one, he has very good recovery pace, he's very physical, and of course, he's very good at the ball, playing the ball out from the back, and he has been immense for Nice this season. His statistics every single game, just look at them. But the big question is, yes, that we almost bought him for 40 million in the summer, and I wish we did buy him for 40 million in the summer. Him and Kim Min-jae were both available for 40 million this summer. How much better would we be with those guys at the club? But with Ratcliffe's links to Nice, we've got an advantage there. It could be a very, very good signing for United, but it might be one that has to wait to the summer with Nice potentially in a title charge. But we do know one thing about Todibo is that he'd love to join United. He wanted to join us in the summer. Ten Hag wants the guy. I'm sure Ratcliffe would be willing to bring the guy to United. He would be brilliant at centre-back. And the other position United are looking at is obviously right wing. We've been linked to a lot of right wingers, and with Sancho basically been confirmed by Romano and every source to be leaving in January, Nico Williams is my first choice. The dream January for me is Nico Williams and Todibo. And of course, Arnold and Murtough being sacked, Mitchell and Blanc coming in. Structural changes, Nico Williams, Todibo, Glazer's hopefully completely and utterly gone within the next year, please. I do not want to wait 4 or 5 years for the Glazers to be brought out, and that would be great. Anyway, I hope you liked today's video. It was a roundup of all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, takeover news, update, and more. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. See you next time, and bye.